At UFC 298, Henry Cejudo faced Murad Davashvili and suffered a defeat, marking his second loss since his return from retirement. Cejudo has previously retired after successfully defending his bantamweight title against Dominic Cruz at UFC 249. Despite promising to retire in case of a loss against Davashvili, Cejudo has not given the opportunity to announce his retirement inside the octagon or at the post-fight press conference by UFC President Dana White. White justified this decision by emphasizing Davashvili's victory and suggesting Cejudo could announce his retirement elsewhere. White had previously expressed skepticism about Cejudo's initial retirement, considering him one of the top pound-for-pound fighters at the time. Cejudo's career boasts notable victories over Demetrius Johnson, TJ Dillashaw, and Cruz, culminating in one of UFC's championships and Olympic gold. As of now, Cejudo has not confirmed whether he will indeed retire following UFC 298, leaving his future in the sport uncertain. I think that it's pretty safe to say that in the sport of MMA, if you're not facing continuous, competition, especially top level competition, you will lose some of your edge. I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. I really do feel like ring rust is a thing. Imagine some fighters out there that they get these like injuries and then they don't fight for a couple months, and then you could obviously tell that they have ring rust. Imagine someone who took years off of the sport and expects to come back and be that same person. I think that Henry Cejudo maybe, probably made a mistake retiring a little too early. I'm pretty sure that he probably would have cemented his legacy if he would have stayed active and faced continuous, high level competition. And I think it just goes to show that in the sport of MMA, it is a very dangerous thing to take some time off. And of course, we know that Henry Cejudo was definitely hinting at the fact that he was going to retire if he lost to Murad Davashvili. And it's something that he hinted at multiple times and said it publicly, even at like UFC interviews. He said that, oh, if I lose to Murad Davashvili, it's probably going to be the last time he laces up some gloves for the UFC. And it was a do or die situation for him. If I'm being completely honest, I feel like Henry Cejudo looked very, very well. I think he looked really, really good, especially in the first round. I think towards the second and third round is where we could definitely say that Murad picked up the pace and does what Murad does best, is that pace that he puts on these fighters, and is the reason why they call him the machine, because there was no letting up from Murad Davashvili, and it was a very impressive performance from him. But yeah, like I said, Henry Cejudo was hinting at the fact that if he didn't beat Murad, he was probably most likely gonna retire from the sport. And of course, we've seen, videos out there of Cejudo walking out of the cage, which is with his gloves off. So I think it's pretty safe to say that, yeah, I think Cejudo most likely is gonna retire after this one. If I'm being completely honest, I feel like the UFC were gonna do Cejudo dirty anyways, because the first time that Henry Cejudo announced his retirement, Dana White was pretty freaking pissed off. So I am not at all surprised that the UFC didn't want to give Cejudo a proper send off. Even, someone like Henry Cejudo, who was a legend in his weight class, I almost expected it. I expected the UFC to like kind of do him the way they did him and not give him a proper send off, because the first time he announced his retirement, like I said, Dana White was pretty upset about it. I really don't think it has anything to do with, oh, this is like Murad's night or anything, because we've seen other fighters lose, right? Like the Uriah Hall versus Anderson Silva, and they still gave Anderson Silva his moment. So I definitely do think that it has something to do with like doing Cejudo dirty on purpose, if I'm just being completely honest. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you guys think that the UFC kind of did Henry Cejudo a little bit dirty with not giving him a proper send off? As always, it's a pleasure talking to each and every single one of you guys, and peace out. Have a good one.